Alrighty, there we go. Hello. Alright. Good stuff. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Okay. We will wait for a few minutes for people to start coming in, and we'll probably go ahead and get started after that. Okay. Hopefully we'll have a few more people come in. Alright. My microphone is on. Okay. Help or hello? I think you meant hello. How are you, Sam? Good, good, my friend. Glad you're doing well. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's actually been a pretty nice, relaxing day, actually, in all honesty. It's been pretty chill. We all ready for today, hopefully? Hopefully today will be better than the last. That's what I'm hoping for, anyway. Should we have up to 3.2 done for the homework? Um, we are going to start with 3.2 today. The sections 1.1 and 3.1 are going to be the ones that you should have up to being done there. That's okay. I haven't even started yet, so you're good. You're good, Ariam. let's see here. Okay, we'll wait a couple of more minutes here. I think just because I got in late. Um, yeah, some people probably will trickle in and stuff. So. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Okay. Almost there, folks. Just one more minute, we'll get started. Sorry for the noise outside. It looks like they're doing some landscaping work and some work on some of the other buildings around my condo there. All right, let's go ahead and get going here. All right. Okay, let's get started today. Welcome back to Wednesday, end of the week time today. So today we are going to go ahead and do just a couple more sections here um, from chapter 3. We'll see how far we get. We should get rather far. It just depends on what we're doing here. In any case, um, last time we talked about inductive and deductive reasoning, which went by okay. I think people had a good idea about that. And we also talked about statements. Okay, so that was one of the other things that we discussed outside of the syllabus. So today we are going to get right into section 3.2. All right, and in section 3.2, we're going to go ahead and discuss again here today. We're going to discuss how we can put those statements together. Okay, so what we're going to do here is compound statements and connectives. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens. Okay, sure. Okay. Wait. Okay. All right. So here we got section 3.2, which is compound statements. All right. So let's think about, what compound statements are. If we think of compound statements here, we're going to basically be using here the symbolic statements that we had learned last time. Again, P and Q. So let's go ahead and do an example of compound statements, and we'll see what we're working with. So let's say we have a statement for P. Okay. Let's say it is cold in the house. Okay, so it is cold in the house. All right, that would be P. And let's say we have Q. And let's say today is Wednesday. Okay, so let's say we have both of those things. All right. Now, if this is what we have here, says it is cold in the house and today is Wednesday, there are a few ways we could connect those two statements together in just regular, just kind of regular speak. So essentially in logic, it works the same way. So for example here, we could say it is cold in the house and today is Wednesday. All right, that's one way we connect two things together. And another way we could connect two things together, we could say it is cold in the house or today is Wednesday. Okay. Now in logic, these actually have two different meanings. Okay. And or have a significantly different meanings, and we're going to look at both of them very carefully to see what exactly they would look like. Okay. So let's look at the first one here. We say, all right, let's look at and. All right. Okay, so when we look at and here, I didn't need to turn these off. Let me turn this off. Let me turn you off. All right, sorry about that. There's a buzzing in my ear and it needs to go away. All right, which is kind of important there. All right, there we go. All right, so let's talk about and. Now, there's going to be notation here for and. So let's talk about notation here first. Okay, so what's the notation here for and? So and's here notation's going to look like this. And I got to bring this up. There it is. So this little sharp mountain dude guy thing, this is going to be the notation for and. Okay, so this right here is the notation for and. And we could say, for example here, we could say, for example here, we could say P and Q. So we go P, and I'll just mark this with an and Q. All right, so that's a way we can pretty much describe this first statement here. It is cold in the house and today is Wednesday. Symbolically, we can put P and Q here. Why? Sorry about that, Jamie. Why for the notation? Well, that's just the notation that they randomly chose. Yeah, there's not really. It's just, again, just notation that just universally means and. So we just kind of have to run with it. It's a lot easier if, I mean, if you're trying to shorthand it pretty much, then yeah, that's why you just kind of put that like that instead of writing and over and over again. If you try if you try logic, for example, yeah, that's actually how they put and here. But there is also a reason they put or here. We'll actually look at that here in just a second. Um, now, there are other ways to express and in the textbook here. They do talk about those alternative ways to express and. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. As you can see here, P and Q is usually the formal statement here, but we have P but Q, P yet Q, P nevertheless Q, okay, have the same exact meaning in that case. So we're not going to focus on this too much, but again, just a way to kind of rewrite if you wanted to rewrite that P yet Q and P nevertheless Q. All right. These are, of course, used in statements all the time, naturally, in just everyday talk. But again, there you go. Simple enough. All right. Now, on the flip side here, On the flip side here, we have um, we have or. So it is cold in the house, or today is Wednesday. So the question is, how do we put or as a statement here? So let's go ahead and do that. Where should not? Okay, did not put or second. Oh, they did. Okay, whatever. Okay, for some reason I thought or was in that table, but anyway. So let's talk about notation here first. So notation here. Um, is this too small, by the way? Should I make this bigger? Uh, is it hard to read? If it's hard to read, I'll make it bigger. You guys let me know. It's good? Okay, just let me know if you guys want me to make it bigger, and then I can make it bigger. It's fine? Okay. Okay. Yeah, just let me know, because not super. Sometimes my perspective's okay, but your perspective's different. All right. In any case, what's the notation here in this instance? Well, instead of the little mountain dude, instead we're going to flip that around, and we're going to call that or. So like a sharp V is representative of or. Okay. So what we would have here is going to be P or Q. So basically as it works is that or is the opposite of and in the way you actually use logic. So that is why we actually just kind of flip it over. So if you use one notation here, like and being kind of like our mountain dude, then it actually will turn out that or will be the opposite. And there is actually logic behind that. So there is definitely reasoning and logic behind that to actually get that to work out. So we're gonna look and explore to see exactly what happens in that circumstance. But yeah, there is definitely that. There's definitely reasoning behind that. Yes. Yeah. So there's actually, yeah, you probably say why for everything. You're like, yeah, there's definitely a reason for that. I guarantee you. All right. Okay. Let's look at the next one here. Um, so we have P or Q. So again, with P or Q, let's again, there's no other equivalent statements, or is just kind of on its own. So that's okay. Not too big of a deal. Alrighty. Do I want to do that? Let's see. Okay, I do want to do that. All right. All right. Next. Next one here is going to be. Oh, why are you doing things in my way? Man, annoying. Okay. Stop doing things in my way. Hang on a second, folks. Some reason I'm having annoying times in Rock Valley High. All right. Let me get rid of this stuff here. Please go away. Man, what's wrong with you, computer? Do good things, please. I'm just begging you. Alright, that hurt my ears. Alright, there we go. Got it. Alright. There we go. All right. Certain things in my way need to go away. It was annoying. Anyway, all right. Let's go focus on what's next here. Okay. Next here is what's going to be called if-then. So let's talk about if-then here. So the sentence is going to go like this. So we have the same P or Q. It is cold in the house and today is Wednesday. But here's another way to write another type of connective statement. So say uh, if it is cold in the house, all right, then today is Wednesday. So in a sense, this is basically what we call the if-then statement. And you'll hear me actually refer to this quite often when we talk about if-then stuff. Okay, so how do I express this statement here? If it is cold in the house, then today is Wednesday. How do I express that statement there? Well, that statement there, first of all, let's talk about notation. So notation here is going to be this. So the arrow going from left to right is going to reflect here if then. So you'll see me write this in a lot for if then. And then what we can write here is as a statement is P and then Q, just like so. So oftentimes when we read this out loud, we usually say if P, as you see here, P comes first, then Q, and then Q comes second. And then that's how we end up with that there at the end of the day. Any questions about that so far? Again, type no in the chat if you want me to move on, or again, if you do have questions, just feel free to ask. Okay, make sure I got that. No? Okay. That's perfectly fine. All right. Yeah, just kind of a lot to talk about in this particular section. So, okay. So that's the third kind of quote unquote operator there. All right. And then let's see here. Oh, that's a size. That's what I wanted there. There we go. All right. Okay, and then the last one here is one more statement. And so this statement here can be written like this. We'll use the same P and Q. So we'll have if, actually we'll say it is cold in the house if and only if today is Wednesday. So the last part of the logic here talks about if it is cold in the house, all right, then so this is it is cold in the house if and only if today is Wednesday. So how do we represent that as notation? So let's do that here. So notation here. All right. So notation here is very similar to that of if then. And instead of being the arrow being just say from left to right, instead you actually have a double arrow. All right, so the double arrow here is going to be our guy here in this case. Let me redefine that. Okay, so how would we write this in notation here? We would write it as P and the double arrow and Q. Okay, so you'll see that again pop up in that case. Okay, any questions so far about that? So that's again, we have 4 operators. We're going to have and, or, if then, and if and only if. Well, actually 5 if we also include if we also include not as well. Which actually we will. So don't forget that the tilde here don't forget that tilde here is equal to not. Okay. All right, so we shouldn't forget that last one because we are going to use that. Okay. All right, so that's what we have here so far for our logical operators. Now, what we need to talk about next here is something that we're going to use here for primarily the rest of the chapter in some shape or form. It's going to be used in some shape or form here for the rest of the chapter if we run into the situation. That particularly being order of operations. Okay, so let's talk about order of operations and let's see exactly what we're working with. So order of operations in this case is not talking about plus, minus, times, and divide. Instead, we're going to be talking about these operators that we have up here. So we have and, or, we have not, we have if then, and we have if and only if. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about here. So I'm going to go from priority, the highest priority, to the lowest priority. So I'm going to go from highest priority to lowest priority. Okay. So at the very top of the list here, the highest priority is going to be what we call if and only if. It's also called the biconditional, but we'll call it if and only if. That's going to be the top priority here. So I'm going to put that in here. So if and only if. All right. The second one here is if then. So if then would be the next one. Okay. Number 3 is and or. Okay. So and or are on the same rank here. So that's going to be like this. Okay. And then finally, the last one here is the negation. So not. So negation slash not. So that's going to be our tilde. Okay, so if we're talking order of operations for what we're going to be using it for, yeah, this is basically what we're going to be doing here for a lot of these logical statements that we'll be putting together. Now you're probably saying exactly, what do you mean by that? What does that exactly mean in the context of what we're doing? Okay, well, let's take a look and see exactly what that means in some examples. Okay, so I'm going to put an example up here. All right, and what we want to do here in this example is put parentheses around where we're going to put parentheses in this in order to reflect the proper order of operations that we see here from highest to lowest priority to see exactly how this works. So let's go ahead and do one right now. Okay. So let's go with this. All right, so let's say we have three statements here. We have this. All right. Now the question really comes is that, okay, where do we put our parentheses around? Okay, so that's the question here. Where are we putting our parentheses around here? So what do you think? Where should I put my parentheses around? Should I put my parentheses around, there's only two places to put parentheses around. Should I put my parentheses around P or Q, or should I put my parentheses around Q and R? Tell me what you think. See some Q's and R's. Okay. Anybody else? Q and R? P and Q? Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this answer here, and let's see exactly what we're working with. Okay, so the answer here in this case is, where do we exactly put the parentheses here? The parentheses here are actually going to go around P or Q. So P or Q is the correct answer. Now, let's describe why this happens to be the case. Why isn't it Q, Q, and R there, you know? Why isn't it not that? I know a lot of you answer that. You're probably thinking, oh, it's because, well, you know, if then has the highest priority. And I'd be like, yes, this is true. This is very true. Now, this is the way logic is going to work. And then this is why I asked this question here, so we need to change up our perspective. So if then is the highest priority in this particular statement, we want to make sure that we have one thing on the left and one thing on the right. Okay, that's going to be our first priority. So if I put my parentheses, if I made it look like this, like if I did it the other way, like you guys suggested, so if I did it like this, then the problem is that I'm actually giving priority to the or. I'm not giving priority to the if then, because I don't have one thing on the left for the if and one thing on the right for the then statement. So I know it looks confusing, but in actuality, you're actually prioritizing the or because you have something P or something else. But that's not what we want. We don't want this second statement. We want this first one. So something on the left for an if and something on the right for the then, with this operator here in the middle. That takes the highest priority. Are there any questions about that? We'll do another example, but any questions at all? No? Okay. Let's try another one. Let's go ahead and give this a go. Which one do I want to do? Yeah, we'll do that. And Okay. So let's say we had a statement like this. Okay. So where should we put our parentheses around? Where should we put our parentheses around? Here's a hint. There's going to be two sets of parentheses that we'll need to put it around. So what do you guys think? R and Q? Okay, I agree. This R and Q here. All right, I can agree. We could put some parentheses around that. Okay, where else? You know, one more set of parentheses. Yeah, the P and the Q. That's right. Good. So notice that we've prioritized this if and only if. Okay, we have something, if and only if, something. So that's why we put those first two, well, that's why we put the parentheses just like so. Okay, so that way we know we're prioritizing the order of operations here. Something, if and only if, something. That's what's most important there in that case. All right. Okay. Are there any questions about that? I just wanted to go over that carefully so we know what that looks like. Yeah. Okay. Uh, what did I miss there? Give me a second. Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. Next, we're going to talk about a little bit more about. I'm going to go back here for just a second, talking about if then and if and only if. Oh, why didn't I actually put a little thing there for you? Okay. Some of the other things that we need to talk about here is in reference to if then and if and only if. I wanted to focus on the order of operations here first, but just in case, this is kind of like a really quick side note here. There could be equivalent statements here. Um, why are we putting the parentheses again? Again, so we could separate the statements out to give the proper order of operations. So if you're just given a random statement without these parentheses, Fernando, then we need to plug in these parentheses in here so we can do, say, a truth table, say with this particular statement. When we can't do a truth table with this particular statement without putting in the parentheses in order to reflect the order of operations. So that is why we put the parentheses in these particular places. Okay. All right. let's go ahead and talk about if-then just a little bit more here. There are equivalent forms of if-then, so we'll go ahead and list some of those here. For if-then, for example, it says alternative forms here would be, okay, I'll do that. So Q if P is another equivalent form. Let's see. P is sufficient for Q. Q is necessary for P. P only if Q, and only if Q comma P. Again, I'm not going to focus on these equivalent statements here, but if you do see these in some problems here, then you'll know what that's equivalent to is if-then. I like using the formal if-then stuff just directly because it's easier that way. All right. All right, next is going to be if and only if. That too has some quick alternative forms, so we'll talk about those. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and put these down here real quick. All right, so we have P if and only if Q. We have, you can actually reverse this down, Q if and only if P, since it works as two directional arrows. If P, then Q, then Q. Oh, whoops. And if Q, then P. P is necessary and sufficient for Q, and Q is necessary and sufficient for P. Okay, so these are equivalencies for if and only if. All right. Again, I'm not going to focus on this too much here, but again, if you do see these in some of the examples or homework problems, all right, this is essentially just another way of saying it. Preferably, you just want to rewrite it in terms of its symbols because it's just a lot easier that way. So it's really not too big of a deal. You know, just try and keep it as basic as possible at the end of the day. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Next, let's do some examples here. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to do some examples here in regards to in regards to symbolic form. So we're going to come up with two more statements here, all right, with P and Q, and let's see what we have. So let's say P here is the heater is working, and Q here is the house is brown. The house is brown. Okay. All right. So let's say you wanted to write out certain statements based on it. You want to write out a statement based on its symbolic form. Okay, so this is what we're doing here. We're just writing out a statement based on its symbolic form. So let's try a couple of them. Let's try a few of them, and let's see what we got here. So let's try this one. So how would you write this as a sentence? So let's write this as a sentence. How would I write this as a sentence? how could we write this as a sentence? So based on that P and Q we have, how do we write that as a sentence? If the house is brown, then the heater is... Oh, that's close. That's close. So I agree with the first half there. If the house is brown, all right, then what would we have for that last half there? Yeah, that's right. The heater is not working, right? Because we have not P there. That's correct. Very good. All right. Let's try another. Let's try another. Which one I want to do? Okay, try that one. Okay, how about this? How about this statement here? Or this symbolic statement, I should say. How could I write this in a sentence? Okay, great. That's correct. So the heater is not working, and the house is brown. Good. All right. Good. That's relatively straightforward there. All right, just getting it into, getting it to kind of looking like that. All right, that works. And I want to see if they did one thing here. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. All right, let's try another here. Let's go with this. Okay. All right, what do you guys think? Now, I'll give you a hint for this one because maybe you haven't seen this type before here. So as you can see here, the not is on the outside. So another way we can express not, like on the outside here, we could say it is not true. So it is not true that something something. You can express it that way. Okay, great. That is correct, Eugene. All right, so it is not true that the heater is working or the house is brown. That's right. So the key part there is the first part there. It says it is not true that, right? So it is not true that the heater is working or the house is brown. All right, so even if you run into this situation, you'll know how to tackle that without too much issue. Okay, now what we're going to do next here is we're going to go ahead and go in reverse. Okay, so now we went from symbols into statements and sentences. Now we're going to go in reverse. We're going to type out a sentence here, and we're going to type out a sentence, and then we're going to change that into a symbolic form here. Okay, so let's take a look at several of them, and I'm going to add one more statement here. So let's see. I drive a Nissan. All right, there we go. Okay, so the heater's working is P, house is brown is Q, and R is I drive a Nissan. All right. Let's go ahead and put some examples here of some sentences, and then we'll put it into symbolic form after that fact. Okay. So let's do this here. Oh. Okay. So let's go with this first one here. This first one here says, the heater is working and the house is brown, or I drive a Nissan. Okay. The heater is working and the house is brown, or I drive a Nissan. How exactly are we going to kind of type that out there? For ors there, go ahead and just put like or. I don't know if there's a. Oh, actually, you could put a caret. Caret will work. So you could put like a V for Here, I'll show you. Put a V for or, and caret and. Okay. P and Q or R. All right. So I agree. We have P. We have P and Q or R. Hey, come on back. All right. Here we go. Okay, so we have P and Q or R. Now, here's the thing. This is almost correct, but we actually do have a set of parentheses here. Now the question is, where do you think those parentheses are going to go? Where do you think these parentheses are going to go? Are they going to go around P or P and Q? Are they going to go around Q or R? Okay, P and Q. That's correct. Now, why do you feel that P and Q needs to have parentheses around it? So why do you think we need parentheses? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So let's talk about why we need the parentheses around P and Q. The reason why we need this around P and Q is actually one of the order of operations goes first, then or. Well, there's no if then, and or are and doesn't necessarily go first before or. And or are like plus and minus. They're on the same rank. So you go from left to right, for example, Fernando. But there is a particular reason why we need to have parentheses around P and Q here. Let's talk about that here. What's the big key reveal here? The big key reveal here is going to come down to this. There is one part in that sentence that actually matters the most. And surprisingly enough, you wouldn't expect it, but in this particular case, it's actually none of the words. It's actually the comma. So, hey, thanks for the follow. So here's the comma. We're going to look at the comma here specifically. All right. The comma has a very large meaning when it comes to sentences. So the comma is the separator between both sides of a statement. So if we want our separator, the comma is going to be our separator. So notice it's like before the comma, this is all one statement. And after the comma, this is all one statement. So where we put our parentheses here is actually based on where that comma is going to be located in the statement itself. And that's the most important part that you have to know there in order to actually interpret the logic statements from a sentence into symbolic form that you have here. Okay. So now that you have that, let's go ahead and take a look here and let's see another statement here and see if you guys can pick up on this. So let's give it a go. So let's see. All right. So if the heater is working, then the house is not brown or I drive a Nissan. I know, probably it's been a while for you. All right. So can you put this into symbolic form? The heater is working, then the house is not brown or I drive a Nissan. How do we put that in symbolic form? I'll give you guys a minute. See if you guys come up with the answer. Possibly. Okay. Yeah. All right, that's correct. Very good. All right, all of you got it correct. All right. I know it's been a while for you as well, X, but yeah, you got it right as well. So the answer here again, P, again with the arrow. All right. So again, we have a. Let's see here. So Eugene, you put P if and only if Q. Again, we have in this case, Eugene, we have if then. So that's why we're going to have P followed by the arrow here. Notice that the comma here says that basically the P statement is going to be before the other two statements here. Okay, so that's going to be kind of its own separate deal. And then in parentheses, we're going to have not Q or R. So just like that. So how do I know where to put the parentheses here? Again, I look at the statements that are to the right of the comma. Those need to go in parentheses. I look at the statements to the left of that comma. Those need to be on its own respective side as well. So I'm following the syntax of the sentence there. So remember, if then is just a one-way arrow. If and only if is a two-way arrow. Any questions about that? We'll do another example. Bleh. No. Okay. Let's do another example. That's fine. All right. Let's go with this one here. The house is not brown. Oh, I guess I probably should put that there. Do this. Okay. All right, next one. The house is not brown if and only if I drive a Nissan and the heater is not working. Okay. All right. So, how do we write that in symbolic form? What do you think? Okay, that's all right. That's one answer. Let's take a look at some others. X got his answer there. Okay, so Fernando's got something similar. Okay. Remember that not always comes before the letter, Jamie. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and write our final answer here for this. Okay, so first things first here. Let's see if we got this right here. All right, so it says the house is not brown. So the house is not brown is going to be not Q. Okay, so again, tilde Q here. Okay, next is going to be the comma here, and we see if and only if. If and only if here. So in this case here, we're going to go ahead and put the double directional arrow here. Okay, so one thing in your answer there, Jamie, is don't put the parenthesis next to this if and only if. Okay, you don't want to do that. The same thing goes for if then. So you shouldn't see this. This will never pop up where you see, let's say this. This doesn't make sense. So if you want to put parentheses, then just put it here after the arrow, and then you should be okay. So you want to put that left parenthesis there. Put it after the arrow and not before it. Okay, just making sure we get the syntax right, so you can see that for yourself. All right, if and only if I drive a Nissan. So you have R, all right, and then we have and then we have the heater is not working, so not P. All right, so there we go. That is going to be our final answer. So X, you got it right. All right, Fernando, you got it right as well. Nicely done. All right, so that will be our final answer for converting it over. Okay. Now we're gonna do a couple more examples here. There's kind of like a lot of examples in this section, but that's okay. Okay. So our last couple of examples of this section here is just using is just basically going backwards once again, going from symbolic form into sentences. Only this time we'll now incorporate the comma thing, depending on whatever our symbolic statement is going to be. So let's go ahead and write this in here. We'll write a symbolic statement, and then we'll see what we're working with. All right, let me go ahead and make it up. All right. So yeah, we'll do this. Okay, so this is going to be our symbolic statement. All right, so not if not R, then Q, or not P. Okay, and we want to go ahead and use our same three statements that we had from before. So again, P is the heater, Q is the house, and R is driving the Nissan. So so does what do you guys think? What will this translate to as a sentence? All right. That is correct, actually. Yeah, nice. That's right, Fernando. Exactly right. Okay, good. So we'll go with the first part here in parentheses. All right. So if I do not drive a Nissan, if I could spell drive right, I can tell you. If I do not drive a Nissan, then the house is brown. All right. And then the comma there being the important part, or, and then this rest of the statement here, or the heater is not working. That is correct. Okay, nice. All right, absolutely right. Great. Okay. So again, just to take a look here, again, we have this first half of this statement here. Again, that's reflective of the parentheses that we have here. And then the second half with the comma after the parentheses are over with the or, and the heater's not working there at the end of the day. All right, let's do one more here. Yeah, that one looks okay. All right. All right. How about this one? All right. How would we write this out? All right. Yeah, that's right. So if the house is brown, then I drive a Nissan. If and only if the heater is working. Correct. That is correct. Very nicely done, everybody. Very nicely done. All right. I see that some of you guys have picked up on that. That's good. It's good. All right. Are there any questions about that? No. All right. Do you guys want to take a break or should we keep going? Want to take a break? Okay. Let's take a small break then. Let's take a 5-10 minute break, okay? All right, let's take a 5-10 minute break and we'll come back. We're going to come back here at 2:20, 2:25, okay? 2:25. We'll come back here at 2:25. 10 minutes or thereabouts. So maybe 2:25 or a little bit after that. Since we're on Central Time here. All right, go ahead, everybody. You can take a break. X, I hope it gave you a little bit of a sense of nostalgia there. Probably has been a while since you did a logic class or anything of the like, so. Let's see here. Holy snaps. Damn, son. Oh, sorry about that, Sam. Is there any other way to know where to put the parentheses without reading the sentence? No, because you need to know where the comma is. So you need to know exactly where the comma is. So yeah, there's not really a way you can determine where the parentheses are without knowing where the separator is going to be, Sam. No problem. All right. I need to do this. Go. Okay. Sure. Okay. All right, everybody back. It is a little bit past 2:25, so let's go ahead and get started again. All right. All right, back from break. Alrighty.